Hey everyone, gonna do a quick video today. We're going to be going over the strength of the grades when it comes to things like Beckett and PSA. So generally, the pecking order and prices go Beckett Black Label, Beckett Gold Label 10s, then you go PSA 10s, Beckett 9.5s, PSA 9s, Beckett 9s, and who gives a shit about everything below there. So the reason why PSA 9s usually go for more than Beckett 9s is A, more people collect PSA. So if you're trying to do a registry set with PSA and you got a few holes, you're going to go with PSA 9 because you can't use Beckett 9 for a PSA registry set. Don't be an idiot. As well, you've got the fact that some people only collect 9s. Jesus, that sucked. So some people only collect 9s. You're perfectly happy with a mint card because there's, one more white dot than a 10. You're paying a quarter of the price. You're probably smarter than I am. But from there down, it goes Beckett 9s. And other reasons, because a lot of people will buy PSA 9s, they'll crack them out of the case, send them to Beckett to try to get a Beckett 9.5, because Beckett 9.5s are worth more than PSA 9s because stonks. I've made a shitload of money cracking 9s and getting 9.5s until very recently, because Beckett has gone absolutely ape shit with their quality control on their 9.5s. I'm sending stuff into Beckett now that would have been easy 9.5s for the last 2 years, and I'm lucky if I get 20-25% getting 9.5s, let alone ever even dreaming about getting a 10 or even fucking 10 subgrades. So keep that in mind. So if you've already got a Beckett 9, the chances of that getting bumped up to a Beckett 9.5 are slim to none. So there's not that extra incentive there for people who are trying to buy cards to crack a mega buck or get a better grade for their personal collection. The incentive isn't really there with the Beckett 9s, so they generally don't have the same price point as PSA 9s. Usually you're looking at 20 to 30% cheaper with Beckett 9s compared to PSA 9s. Now, the interesting part's when you get into PSA 9s and Beckett 9.5s, because usually you're looking at between 1.5 and 2.5 times the price for Beckett 9.5 compared to a PSA 9, depending on the subgrades. Now, if you've got just a basic Beckett 9.5, you've got a 9 and 3 9.5s, then that generally doesn't hold as much value as if you had, say, a Beckett 9.5, but it's got 2 10s and 2 9.5s, because you're only 0.5 off of getting, that pristine Beckett label that everyone fucking loves. So you really need to keep that in mind. When you're buying Beckett, look at the subgrades. If it's a basic 9.5, it's not going to be holding as much value. It's not going to be as easy to sell, and you're going to have a bad time if you're assuming that a basic ass Beckett 9.5 is going to be worth as much as a PSA 10. Brings us to the next point. So PSA 10s. So PSA 10s, depending on what the card is, because a lot of the value in some of the PSA 10s come from by how fucking hard they are to grade. So keep that in mind. If you've got a Beckett 9.5 though, and you're comparing it to your standard PSA 10, usually there's again a 2 to 3 times multiplier, depending on the card. So the interesting parts when you get into the Beckett 10s, because people are, basic white bitches when it comes to PSA 10s to their Beckett 10s. Anything that's a Beckett 10 and, a gold label generally goes for 1.5 to 2 times what a PSA 10 goes for. And anything a black label 10, just, take the damn house, essentially. When, Curse of Dragon was a $350 to $400 US card, a Beckett Black Label 10 came up for auction. I think it went for like $2,000. So you really need to keep that in mind, that if a Black Label 10 comes up for sale, chances are it's going to go for a stupid price, and that's why. It's next to impossible to get a lot of them. We were talking Yu-Gi-Oh! Even with LOB being as quote-unquote easy to grade as it is out of the pack compared to a lot of the base set stuff, it's extremely hard to get even a gold label 10. There are a bunch of them with Yu-Gi-Oh! There's only a handful of black label 10s. It's damn near impossible to get a lot of those cards in Beckett 10s, whether it's black, gold, or whatever. So you need to keep that in mind. The price is generally warranted just by how damn hard it is to get them. You could argue the fact that, oh, well, Beckett 10 is just a glorified PSA 10. I'm not getting into that shit. I don't have time for that. That's just basically how the market works for anyone who's, uninitiated in the wheelings and dealings. So when it comes to me personally, when I'm trying to figure out how to grade my items, I'll look at it and say, okay, well, this has a couple of scratches, not getting a PSA 10. The way Beckett's been going lately, it's probably not going to get a 9.5. I'm going to send it PSA to get a PSA 9, sell it, wash my hands clean of it. If I look at it and it has, one white scratch, one light scratch, or it's got, tiny bit of whitening on the back, and I'm saying, okay, well, it might get a PSA 10, might not, but it has a really good shot at a Beckett 9.5, I'm just saying fuck it and sending it to Beckett. Generally, I used to do that more freely before they started cracking the whip on the grades, but it is what it is at this point. Beggars can't really be choosers. If I look at a card and say, holy shit, this is clean, this has got a really good shot at a PSA 10, it's going to PSA to try to get a PSA 10. I'll crack it a couple times if I got to try to get the 10. If it doesn't, it is what it is. When it comes to Beckett 10s, I don't even fucking try. Really don't. Outside of like a modern day, super clean, fresh out of the pack card, it's not even worth the time, effort, or money that's going to be involved in trying to get a Beckett 10. Out of the few hundred cards I've sent to Beckett, I've gotten one gold label 10, let alone a black label. So keep that in mind if you're looking at Beckett labels and wondering why the hell their 10s are getting way more than PSA 10s. So just a quick overview for anyone who doesn't know how Beckett versus PSA marketplace works, and if you're trying to decide on where to send your cards in particular. So hope you learned something today, and have a good one.